Welcome to Chiara Bazzani and Heins podcast. Hi, Thane. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Uh, better than better than Iran, better than Israel, better than lots of other places in the Middle East. At least we have peace here, and wishing peace for everybody else. And today we're going to talk about how peace can be provided for the Middle East and China and everybody else that is considering getting involved in the war, like England, France, Germany, potentially Turkey, and eventually Russia and China. And so welcome to World War III, if we want it. If we don't want it, then people have to pay attention to what we're talking about today. Because in our last podcast, or I think the last podcast, maybe the one before that, we introduced China to the law of creation of energy. We introduced China to our technologies which harness created electromagnetic field energy that allows China to generate all of its electricity at infinite efficiency with zero mechanical input power, zero input energy, while producing zero CO2 and so on. Now, obviously, the world situation has changed. I guess people are not so concerned right now about CO2 reduction or even input energy reduction. Now, what people are thinking about in a big way is how do they power their countries if now that the Strait of Hormuz is closed and the 20 million barrels of oil that gets shipped out of the Middle East through the Strait of Hormuz every day, which is 40% of China's requirement, 70% of Japan's requirement, India, Pakistan, the list goes on and on and on, and Europe as well.
Yeah.
So we're in a situation now where either people are going to start to pay attention to Oersted's law of creation of energy, which has been around since 1820, just misunderstood, unless people are going to start paying attention to that, which is what's going to save the planet from World War III, or we have World War III. And then, maybe we'll pay attention after. But it's easier to pay attention now than it will be in a couple of months from now. Because Israel has what they called the Samson doctrine. Do you know what that is? You don't know what that is. The Samson doctrine is if Israel and the United States run out of missiles, which they're going to do, especially because the United States gave most of its missiles to the Ukraine. When Israel and the United States run out of missiles, of which I think they have, I don't know, let's say 1,000 missiles. I don't know the exact number, but the number is small. Whereas Iran has 400,000 missiles. So Iran has been preparing for this day for 20 years. And so what's going to happen if Israel and the United States run out of missiles? Then they're going to send troops into Iran, which is going to be terrible. And of course, England, France, Germany, they're all going to join because the world needs energy. The world believes that it needs energy in the form of oil, but that's no longer true. So if Israel and the United States run out of missiles, then they're going to go to the nuclear option. And that's when World War III starts. And that's when we all fucking go to heaven and talk about it later. So yeah. Either we're going to go to heaven or we're going to stay here in hell with all these idiots who like to want to create wars and all that sort of thing. Or we're going to start to pay attention, which to a law of physics that's been around for 206 years. And all we're doing is introducing it in the correct way, and also introducing our technologies, which harness electromagnetic field energy that is part of Oersted's law in a beneficial way that allows electricity to be generated at infinite efficiency with no mechanical input, no energy input, for electric motors to perform any magnitude of work with no electric input energy, and for electric vehicles to have unlimited driving range. So with regards to China and India and Pakistan and Japan, of course, their energy future, well, their long-term energy security is guaranteed because our technology is going to eventually replace oil, okay? It's not going to replace oil immediately. It's going to take about 20 years for our Regenex generators to get fully integrated into the world. So, but what it means is the world can continue to consume fossil fuels, oil, natural gas, coal, and nuclear, and so on, without producing any pollution in the electricity generation process. And of course, you don't need additional input energy to power EVs, which is obviously what's happening in China and California and so on. So EVs are going to have unlimited driving range. In fact, we already have an EV that has unlimited driving range. And now the question that is in front of the world right now is the world going to survive long enough for these technologies to come out, or are we going to kill ourselves in the process? So that's the question that is you know, that's the question that is being presented to the world right now. Now, China, we have introduced the technology to China. Since our last podcast, we introduced the Regenex generator, the Regenex quantum motor, the EV regenerative acceleration technology to the the Chinese ambassador to Canada, the Chinese embassy liaison to Europe, and to BYD. And basically what happened after we presented it to them, basically they said, thanks, but no thanks. Okay. So initially they were interested, but then when they realized the full scope of the technology, they said, no, thank you. So now we're in a situation where that last podcast was with regards to the USA's invasion of Venezuela and the seizing of Venezuela oil, which 40% of that was going to China. And now 40% of China's oil that's comes from through the Strait of Hormuz, that's gone potentially now. So China is going to get some of its oil from Russia, but maybe that's going, maybe that'll be enough. But Japan says that it has, I think they said this morning that they have 4 months worth of energy. After that, they're done. They have no energy to run the country. So now, again, with regards to history, Japan entered World War II because the United States created an oil embargo and it cut off Japan's access to oil from the Middle East. So that forced China into World War II. Now, what's happening currently is Iran is basically forcing, the entire world into World War III. If the Strait of Hormuz stays closed, for 4 months, if it stays closed for an entire month, then we're into World War III. Then you certainly have England, France, Germany, the United States, and probably the UAE that's going to get involved directly in Iran and sending soldiers in. And if that doesn't work, then Israel's going to go to the nuclear option. So that's where we're at. And so we made our presentation, and yesterday we made a presentation to the UAE, the GCC, and we're letting them know that because we're letting them know that they can have energy security also, because what's happening with Iran is targeting the Middle East or the UAE's water desalination facilities. And Israel and the United States are targeting Iran's infrastructure, hospitals, water resources in the mountains, their dams, their so on. So both sides are working on destroying basically the life-preserving infrastructure of both countries. And it's going to be a mess. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is the message, the knowledge that unlimited amounts of energy can be created at the subatomic quantum electron level via electron fission and electron fusion. This is Oersted's law of creation of energy of 1820. Since 1834, humanity has been using created electromagnetic field energy in order to perform negative work. That's what people call EV regenerative braking. Faraday generators have been performing negative work at infinite efficiency, and which is the root cause of our climate change and air pollution and so on from Faraday generators. So what Thane Heins Energy Inc. Technologies discovery was made in 2007 was we were able to create a generator that doesn't need any mechanical input power, doesn't need any prime mover input energy. All it needs is what's called rotational kinetic energy. Okay, like, so anywhere you have a drive shaft that has rotational kinetic energy, from that drive shaft, from that single drive shaft, okay, if you had one drive shaft in the world, one, and you had a regenerative generator that was big enough on that drive shaft, and you had a regenerative generator connected to that drive shaft, you could generate all the electricity for the world forever from that single drive shaft that's rotating at rotational equilibrium without requiring any additional mechanical power to be supplied to that generator. Now, so what does that mean for every country in the world? Well, every country in the world can now generate, can produce, can create unlimited amounts of electricity for themselves, which provides them with permanent energy national security. Okay, they're not dependent on the Strait of Hormuz or psychopaths in the Middle East or wherever they are that are causing all of this trouble. They're not dependent on those situations. They can create unlimited amounts of energy at the point of use, which provides every country on Earth with permanent energy national security, permanent economic viability, because now all of a sudden all your energy input requirements are off the table, and not that it matters anymore if we're gonna kill ourselves in a nuclear holocaust, but no CO2, no air pollution, nothing. And so that's where we're at. Now, what we need to do now with our podcast is we need to start inviting key people that are, the ambassador to China, all the people that are that were invited to this this podcast today. Obviously, not everybody could join in the short amount of time that was presented to them, but they will be provided with this podcast, of course, which you're recording, and they will be invited to further podcasts. So we can present to them directly the fact that, Oersted's law of creation of energy is not new. It's 206 years old. And since 1834, we've been using it in the wrong way. And if we use it in the right way, then we can save ourselves from, climate disaster, and we can save ourselves from a nuclear war disaster, and we can save ourselves from more and more bloodshed, which has been going on. The day after 9/11 was the day that I decided that the day after 9/11, when the coalition of the killing went into, decided to go into Afghanistan and eventually Iraq to seize the oil resources there, I was filling up my car with gasoline. And the gasoline was, I think it was like 60 cents a liter, some absurd amount, some absurdly low amount. And I asked my wife at the time, what's the deal with the Iraq invasion or the Afghanistan invasion and all of that? And she said, well, it started, this week. Mm-hmm. So what happened was the markets were responding to the fact that the United States and the Western countries were going into Afghanistan and the Middle East to gain control of oil resources. And while I was pumping gas, I realized that with the low price of gasoline, I was the beneficiary of murder and theft of Afghans' oil resources and Iraq's and so on and so on. And I decided that I didn't want to participate in that. So what most people don't realize is that, if the United States goes into a country like Venezuela and kills people, kills children, or how many children have died so far in Iran alone, 100 school children. Yeah. When we go into a country and we steal their energy resources, and then we take those energy resources back to our country and then we sell it to consumers. Consumers are purchasing stolen energy that has been paid for with the blood and the lives of soldiers and civilians. That energy cost is too fucking high. And it's been going on since, well, it's been going on for quite a long time. Now, here we are, facing World War III. And the question is, is humanity still as retarded now as they were in 2001? Are we still stupid enough to think that we can continue on this, psychopath path and continue to, destroy countries for energy control? And I'm hoping that, we won't do that, but time will tell. So here we are again, going back, to the Chinese. This video is going to go to the Chinese, and we're going to say, look, if you want to suffer, keep ignoring us. If you want to survive, then pay attention. And by the way, the technology is free. So, there's no risk. The only risk is that they don't listen.
Yeah, so, also because with your invention, the peace is possible.
with our technology, world peace is guaranteed. If we want to start fighting over broccoli or carrots or whatever, or sand or some other stupid thing, go ahead. But we don't need to keep fighting and killing each other, murdering each other, and stealing each other's energy resources, and then taking those energy resources for ourselves and selling them to our unsuspecting public. Again, what people don't understand as well is that off the coast of Gaza in the sea, there's like $566 billion worth of natural gas. And so, you know, this genocide, this Palestinian genocide, it's for energy. The nonsense that's going on in the Ukraine is fundamentally about energy as well. If you strip away all the propaganda and all the nonsense, you know, Iran has nuclear weapons, or Iran's going to get nuclear weapons any day now, which, you know, they haven't done in 40 years. All of a sudden, they're going to have nuclear weapons. You know, it's all, the whole thing is about creating or controlling energy resources. So now what we're bringing to the table is again, nothing new, okay, except our technology, but Oersted's law of creation of energy, which says that energy can be created. So if you can create energy, you know, for free anywhere in unlimited quantities, why do you need to kill people to steal their oil? And in fact, once this information gets out into the public, oil is going to become virtually worthless. And certainly killing each other for something that's worthless is not going to continue.
Sorry if I interrupt you, but there is Christopher that I think I want to say or ask something. Christopher, if you want to speak, please.
Sure. Is my mic working and everything okay there? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, Thane. I love your work. I love your inventions. As you know, I've kind of gotten into this. I'm an electrical engineer with many years of experience building industrial facilities around the world. I've worked for big engineering companies, and I took a master's in sustainable energy development, and I came across these types of devices and dug into the physics and why the physics isn't being taught. And I would characterize what we're going through historically as a long overdue scientific paradigm change that's been delayed mainly to keep the old system going, the economic system, the political system that fell out of the Second World War, which of course the Americans dominated with, and the main energy source was at that time burning stuff, fossil fuels. Well, correct. I mean, your inventions are probably the best I've seen. Given that there's also a history of a lot of these inventions not getting to market as well. In the previous company,
doesn't matter. Not relevant. Not relevant. Not relevant. Not relevant.
Yeah, I guess
the reason that it's not relevant and is because we're giving our shit away for free. Okay.
Yeah, and it's good shit too.
The mistakes that other people made was they went like this. Okay, they went like this.
Too aggressive. Sorry, I can't see.
Show me the money. Show me the money. And what we're saying is here, it's free. Everybody can have it.
Yeah.
So that's why everything else is irrelevant, and also everything else is irrelevant because we are introducing the new energy paradigm for the fourth industrial the fourth industrial revolution, but it's not really the fourth industrial revolution. It's the fourth industrial evolution of humanity, which allows us to evolve out of a scarcity mentality,
exactly.
survival mentality, kill you before you kill me mentality. That's where we're
out of the caveman stage of relation.
So Iran is being threatened by Israel and the United States. They are in a fight for their life. Okay, Iran is not threatening Israel or the United States, but they have found themselves in a fight for their lives. And so the solution is, the solution for the rest of the world is you can now get your energy, unlimited amounts of energy, from another source. You don't, and of course.
Yeah, I agree. And it's been an option for how long have you had your devices certified by Siemens? It's been what, 15 years, 17 years?
Again, our technologies were not certified by Siemens. They were co-invented by Siemens.
Well, that's even better.
So co-invented by Siemens, co-invented by Hero Electric of India, co-invented by Rex Power Magnetics in Toronto, co-invented by California Diesel and Power, supported by Magna International and many other companies and universities. So now what Chiara is going to do on her podcast is she's going to go to all those entities that have been, sitting in the back rooms, hiding under their desks, hoping that the truth doesn't come out, where they have been sitting on this. Siemens has been sitting on this for since 2008.
It's absurd. The situation. Really.
We have recently presented it to Siemens, and as per everybody else, they told us to take a hike.
Oh, really?
And absolutely, they told us to.
Well, initially, you mean, right?
No, they're telling us to take a hike right now.
Really?
So now the question. So the question is, is Siemens going to go down with the ship and keep saying, take a hike? Thane, Heins, with your technology that we co-invented, that you're giving to us for free. We don't want it. We want, we want to rely. What we want is Western soldiers to go into Iran and get fucking killed. That's basically what they're saying. And what we're saying, if we can get the message to people that are willing to hear it, that's not necessary.
I certainly support you. It absolutely is not necessary, nor it hasn't been for probably many years. So anyway, yeah.
So, and of course, Chiara and all her friends in the UK, the UK is going to send soldiers. It's already sending, France is sending warships. So again, here we are with the solution, that we're presenting. And the question is, how many more people have to die and suffer until the world finally gets out of its stupidity?
Yeah.
That's the question. And
do you guys want to get into like the sociological all this long history of how people believe that? I guess people have been programmed not to believe their eyes, not to think rationally, And there's this whole, oh, it's impossible, and then they move on, and they don't even spend more than 5 minutes even thinking about it. That's typically,
well, yeah. So
I think that's the root cause. I mean, the geopolitical motivations behind it, they're reinforcing a system based on fossil fuels, Second World War order. But it really comes down to how do we change people's perceptions and get them to think long enough to consider, hey, this is available and it's real, and why isn't my government doing it? Or why isn't my government supporting it, I guess, or companies supporting it as well. So
the question is that's before the entire world right now, and this is why Chiara and I started this podcast, is, again, how many more people have to suffer and die? I mean, millions died in Iraq, and so, and again, we are basically putting a stamp on history right now. We're saying, as of today, nobody else has to die. Nobody else has to suffer. No more bombs, no more rockets. There's no need for it. And China doesn't need to suffer, energy-wise. Japan doesn't need to suffer. India. And again, I've
been studying this in depth, for many years. So
the biggest problem for the UAE is that 80% of the food that goes into those countries goes through the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah.
So if the Strait of Hormuz is closed, they don't have any food. And 80% of the people that live in Dubai, I think it is, 80% of the people that live there are foreigners. Okay, so when the food is gone and there's no food, those people are leaving. So the whole creation of Dubai, or that section of the world, hinges on the Strait of Hormuz. So if that remains closed, then you have a real bad situation, so we're just going to have to wait and see what's going to happen, and hopefully some sanity is restored, and some minds are open to the idea of a new energy paradigm that's been 25 under development for 25 years.
Yeah.
Okay, is that enough for today, Chiara, or you have anything else you want to?
Yes, for today I think that is enough, and I want to say thank you to everyone that come to our podcast, and I hope that also in the next one we'll come back, and also other people come to our podcast. So I say goodbye to everyone, and thank you again.
Okay, take care. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.